Hey there, what's up? Welcome to Learn English Secrets, the channel where we uncover the secrets of English that nobody tells you about. Ever felt lost, studying for ages and still freezing up when it's time to speak English? Seems like your pronunciation is sabotaging you, right? You understand everything, but when it's time to open your mouth. Relax, take a breath, because today I'm going to reveal a forbidden pronunciation secret that can change your English forever. Seriously, if you keep pronouncing things wrong, incredible opportunities can slip through your fingers. Imagine missing out on that dream job or that important conversation because of a small pronunciation detail. But chill, there's a way to turn this around, a method used by experts that will make you sound much more natural and confident. And no, it's not magic, it's technique, it's strategy, and I'm going to show you everything in this video. So, if you finally want to unlock your pronunciation and never be afraid to speak English again, subscribe to the channel here so you don't miss any secrets I'm going to reveal. Get ready to transform your pronunciation and master English once and for all with Learn English Secrets. Discover the secret that will change everything. Your journey to perfect pronunciation starts now, so let's go. The pronunciation secret revealed. If you've made it this far, I bet you've already experienced that feeling of studying English, dedicating yourself, understanding everything in theory, but when it's time to open your mouth, it seems like your pronunciation gives you away, doesn't it? Like you've got the grammar down, vocabulary is okay, but when you go to speak, it all locks up, the words don't come out the way they should. Don't worry, take a deep breath because this frustration is super, hyper, mega common. You're not alone in this, and today's video is tailor-made for you if you're tired of feeling like this and finally want to flip that pronunciation switch. Today, I'm going to tell you a secret, a trick of the trade, something that seems almost obvious. It's so simple, but it has the power to completely transform the way you speak English. Forget those dull, repetitive classes that make you memorize lists and lists of words without any context. Here, we're going straight to the point with practical tips, straight talk, and of course in a fun way because learning English doesn't have to be a pain, right? So get ready because the goal is simple, unlock your pronunciation once and for all. And check this out, by the end of our chat you'll not only understand why English pronunciation is such a big challenge for so many people, but you'll also discover a technique, a super powerful tool that's used by experts all over the world so you can start sounding much more natural in English. And the best part? No need for magical formulas, no boring memorization, none of that. It's a simple, smart method that really works in everyday life. You know what a lot of people think? That pronunciation is a gift, that only some people are born with the talent to speak English properly, or that only kids can learn perfect pronunciation. Pure nonsense, total rubbish. Adults can learn, and they learn really well. The difference is that we need the right strategy, the most efficient path. And guess what? That strategy exists, it's closer than you think, and I'm going to show you every detail in this video. So if you're out there, tired of feeling insecure every time you need to speak English, if you've already missed out on incredible opportunities because of your pronunciation, or you're too embarrassed to speak in public for fear of making mistakes, pay close attention, focus on every detail, because together we're going to unravel this mystery of pronunciation once and for all and give your English a boost, a turbocharge. Curious to know what the first obstacle is, the first challenge we need to overcome on this journey? Here's a hint. It has to do with sounds that simply don't exist in our language. Interested? Then come with me and we'll unlock this secret right now. Why is it so difficult? Ever stop to think about something? That some English sounds are like they come from another planet sometimes. They just don't exist in some languages. It's kind of crazy, but it's the plain truth. And then, what do we do without even realizing it instinctively? We try to make do. We replace these strange sounds with sounds we already know that are familiar to our ears. You know, when you try to fit a piece that doesn't belong in the puzzle. Or, to use a more practical comparison, imagine trying to fit a Phillips screw, that screw with the cross-shaped tip, into a straight slot screw, that annoying straight screw. It's not going to work, right? It doesn't fit at all. With pronunciation, it's exactly the same thing. We try, without wanting to fit sounds that are ours into English words, and the result? Well, the result is not always what we expect, not to say that it almost never is. That's where the danger lies, you know, those pronunciation mistakes that, sometimes, completely change the meaning of what we want to say. Want to see a classic example that everyone who is learning English has come across? It's the famous TH in English. You know, that sound that appears in words like think or this? So, this sound simply doesn't exist in some languages. And what happens in practice? Often, without wanting to, we end up saying sink instead of think or dis, slang for disrespect instead of this. Do you see how the word changes completely? Think and sink are totally different things, just like this and dis. And hey, please don't feel bad if you've already done this, if you identified with these examples. It's super, mega, ultra normal. It happens to everyone who is learning English, especially in the beginning. The big issue is that, if we don't pay attention to these different sounds, we keep repeating the same mistakes. It becomes a vicious cycle, and we don't even realize that we are pronouncing it wrong. And the worst part is that this can hinder communication, you know? Sometimes, a small pronunciation mistake can create a big confusion. But relax, take a breath, because the good news is that there is a way, a path to train our ears and our mouths for these new sounds, these alien sounds of English. And it's not just repeating lists and lists of words without stopping like a parrot. Here at Learn English Secrets, we like more effective and fun methods. And I'm going to show you a much more effective, much more fun, and most importantly, really works. But before we dive headfirst into this secret method, let's quickly understand why just practicing isolated sounds, like keep repeating th, th, th non-stop. Why this is not the magic solution, the way to perfect pronunciation. Ready for this discovery? And hey, what was the last time you found yourself in a tight spot because of your pronunciation in English? Tell me in the comments. I want to know your stories and help you unlock this pronunciation issue once and for all. Does practicing sounds alone help? Look, pay attention here because this is a very common trap. Many people, when they decide they want to improve their pronunciation in English, immediately think that the solution is to practice each English sound separately, one by one. Like, today I'm going to focus only on the TH sound, tomorrow only on the English R sound, then on the V sound, and so on, in that logic of one step at a time. It makes sense in theory, right? It seems organized, methodical, pretty. But unfortunately, in practice, it's not quite like that. It's not quite how pronunciation learning works. And what's the problem with this approach? Simple. In English, many sounds are very, very similar to each other. It's incredible. The difference between one sound and another can be minimal, subtle, almost imperceptible, especially for an ear that is not used to these nuances. And so, if we focus only on isolated sounds, loose, out of context, we end up losing just that subtlety, that nuance, that small subtlety that does make all the difference. Want a practical example to make it clearer? Think again about that classic case of cheap and sheep. The two words are almost identical visually and in pronunciation. The crucial difference lies in a short vowel, almost a detail which for us who don't have a trained ear can sound exactly the same. And then what happens? If you practice the long I and short I sound separately, great, you even understand the difference in theory. But when the time comes when you go to hear and speak the words together in a sentence in a normal conversation, the confusion may continue. Your brain can't identify that small difference in the middle of the tumult of speech. It's like learning the musical notes separately, you know. Do, re, mi, fa, sol. You memorize all the notes, you know which is which, but then when you go to listen to a real song, a whole complex melody, you can't recognize the notes, identify the sounds, keep up with the rhythm. Pronunciation is very similar to that. We can't learn the sounds of English as if they were loose, isolated pieces. We need to learn to hear and produce these sounds in the context of words, of sentences, of real speech, of everyday life. It is in context that the magic happens. So, what's the solution? Give up practicing the sounds, throw everything up in the air and say, pronunciation is not for me. Of course not, no way, we just need to change our approach, flip the switch, find a smarter, more efficient, more fun way. And the key, the secret to unlocking pronunciation is in comparing similar sounds. Exactly that. But wait, before I reveal this bombastic secret in detail, let's quickly understand why adults suffer more to pick up these pronunciation details than babies. Ever wondered that? Why does it seem so difficult for us and so natural for a baby? Come with me and I'll explain everything. Adults versus babies in pronunciation. Ever noticed how a baby learns to speak any language with an absurd, almost unbelievable ease? It's like magic. A little baby in a few months begins to babble, to imitate sounds, and quickly, when we least expect it, there it is, speaking full sentences with the perfect pronunciation of the native language. It's impressive, and then we compare ourselves, right? We, adults, toiling, sweating, studying for years and years to try to pronounce a simple thank you decently. What is the secret of babies? Where is their trick of the trade? The answer, my friend, is in the most incredible and complex place in our body, our brain. When we are babies, brand new, our brain is like a giant sponge, hungry for information, thirsty to learn everything about the world around us, especially the sounds of the native language, the language we hear all the time. We absorb everything without filter, without judgment. And the brain, as intelligent as it is, begins to create mental maps of the sounds. It's as if it draws a map of the phonetics of our native language, identifying each sound, each nuance, each small difference between one sound and another. And then we become super good, experts in identifying these differences in our native language. The problem, or rather the challenge, is that when we grow up, when we become adults, these mental maps are already formed, already well-defined, kind of carved in stone in our brain. And then when we try to learn a new language like English, which has completely different sounds, sounds that don't exist on our mental map, the brain kind of resists, you know. It's used to a pattern, to a system of sounds, and it wants in every way to fit everything that is new into that pattern that it already knows. It's stubborn, the little beast. That's why we adults have much more difficulty in perceiving the differences between very similar sounds in English. We can hear cheap and sheep, remember those little words, and think it's all the same thing, that the sound is the same, or even worse, not even realize that we are pronouncing it wrong, that there is a difference there. It's as if our auditory filter was already addicted to the sounds of our native language, blocking the entry for the new sounds of English. But wait. Take a deep breath again and don't give up, please. This doesn't mean by any means that adults don't learn pronunciation, that we are doomed to speak wrong English forever. It just means that we need a different method than the sponge method of babies. We need to reprogram our brain, give a reset to this addicted auditory filter, teach it to hear these new differences, to recognize the alien sounds of English. And how do we do this? Guess, comparing similar sounds, exactly. Ready to finally discover the secret of pronunciation? Then hold my hand and come with me to the next topic. Hearing similar words side by side. The most anticipated moment has arrived. Prepare your heart because now I'm going to reveal the secret, the technique that can turn the tide of your pronunciation in English. The solution, which has been proven by several scientific studies, is surprisingly simple. Listen to words with similar sounds, one after the other, side by side together. It even seems a little silly, right? So simple that we even doubt that it works. But trust me, because it's genius. When you hear cheap and sheep in sequence, cheap, sheep, cheap, sheep, repeatedly, your brain is forced to pay attention to the minimum, the subtle differences between the sounds. It's like you give a shock, a restart to your auditory system, waking it up to the nuances, to the precious details of English. You know that old story of paying attention? Of focusing on what really matters? That's exactly it. This technique forces you to pay attention to the sound differences which before went unnoticed. This technique of comparing similar words is like a personal trainer for your ear. It helps you to refine your auditory perception, to train your brain to distinguish, to differentiate the sounds that previously seemed equal, that sounded like the same thing. And the more you practice, the more you train your ear with these comparison exercises, the easier it becomes to hear, to perceive these differences, not only in these specific words, but in any context, in any conversation in English that you hear out there. Think about it, reason with me. What is the great difficulty of pronunciation? It's not producing the isolated sound alone out of context. The real challenge is to perceive, to identify the difference between similar sounds in the middle of the fast, natural, everyday speech. By comparing the words side by side, you are training just that perception, that ability to discriminate the sounds in the real context of the language, in the jungle of communication. And best of all, you know what? Is that this technique is super practical, easy to put into practice, and you can start using it right now as soon as you finish watching this video. But is it enough just to hear the words keep repeating cheap, sheep, cheap, sheep? Almost there. After training the ear, of tuning your listening, the next step, fundamental, is to put the mouth to work. It's time to sweat, to put your hand in the dough, or rather, the mouth in the world. Want to know how? How to take this next step and start practicing the pronunciation of these contrasting words. Calm down, relax, that we'll get there. And hey, before I tell you the next secret, tell me something. Had you ever heard of this technique of comparing similar words? If so, have you used it? What did you think? Leave it here in the comments. I really want to know your opinion and exchange ideas with you. And if you're enjoying this super tip and you've already realized that it can transform your pronunciation, take advantage and leave your like here in the video, because that way I know that you're liking it and it encourages me to bring even more incredible content like this for you. Practicing the pronunciation of contrasting words. Already figured out that the master secret is to fine-tune the ear to the difference between sounds? Wonderful. But think about it with me, there's no point in having the ear of a lynx if the mouth remains lazy, right? It's like buying a super powerful car and not having a driver's license. We need to put that mouth to play, my friend. So, after turbocharging your listening, the next step, which is fundamental, is to start practicing the pronunciation of those little words that live causing confusion. You know those little words that look like Siamese twins, like cheap and sheep, bat and bet? They are our friends in this journey. Now, how do we do this in practice? It's simple, but it requires a little dedication, okay? After your ear has begun to capture the difference between, I don't know, ship and sheep, your brain is starting to understand that, oh, these sounds are different, they exist. And then what do? We start to imitate, to repeat, to put out. It's like learning to dance, understand. At first, you look at the steps, try to understand the music, but you'll only really learn when you start to move, to feel the rhythm in the body. With pronunciation, it's the same vibe. We need to feel the sounds in the mouth, in the tongue, in the vocal cords. And how do we repeat these words? Not just any way, there's no point in repeating like a robotic parrot. We have to repeat with attention, with focus, as if we were savoring each sound. You know when you eat a delicious chocolate and pay attention to every piece, to every flavor? It's like that. We're going to repeat the contrasting words in sequence like a sound mantra. Cheap, sheep, cheap, sheep. Repeat with me there. Cheap, sheep, cheap, sheep. Did you notice how your mouth makes different movements for each word? Feel the difference. The I of cheap is shorter, faster, while the E of sheep is longer, more stretched, almost a smile. It's this difference that we need to feel and internalize. A golden tip which makes all the difference is to use a mirror. Yes, a mirror. It may seem silly, but I swear it works too much. When we look at ourselves in the mirror while speaking, we can see the movements of the mouth, the tongue, the lips. And then we begin to understand what's happening in there. It's like taking a yoga class for the mouth. You observe yourself, correct the posture, adjust the movements. Get a mirror, put it in front of your face, and repeat the little words, cheap, sheep. Look how your mouth moves. In cheap, the mouth is more relaxed, more open. In sheep, the lips stretch, form almost a smile. Did you see the magic happening? Another super powerful tool is to record your voice. Yes, record your own audio speaking cheap and sheep. And then, you know what you do, you compare it to the pronunciation of a native speaker. It can be a video on YouTube, an audio in the online dictionary, anything that gives you a model of correct pronunciation. And then you listen to your voice, listen to the voice of the native, and try to identify the differences. At first, it may seem a little strange to hear your own voice. I know, we always think that the recorded voice is not our real voice, right? But relax, it's super normal. And over time, you'll get used to it and you'll realize how valuable this tool is to refine your pronunciation. It's like having a private teacher in your pocket, giving you feedback all the time. The most important thing, my friend, is to be active in this process. It's no use just repeating mechanically as if it were an endless litany. We have to repeat with intention, with awareness, paying attention to every detail. You know that story of practicing with purpose? That's exactly it. We're going to repeat the words, feeling the difference in the mouth, hearing the difference in the ears, seeing the difference in the mirror, comparing with the native speaker. It's a total immersion in the world of English sounds. And don't be frustrated if it doesn't come out perfect at first, okay? It's super normal to make mistakes, to stumble over the words, to feel the tongue roll. Pronunciation is training, pure and simply training. It's like going to the gym. On the first day, you're not going to lift 100 kilos in the bench press, right? You start with lighter weights, you get the hang of it, you gain strength, and little by little you get there. With pronunciation, it's the same thing. Start slowly, repeat a little each day, be persistent, don't give up. The more you practice, the more natural and easy it becomes. If I could, you can too. I wasn't born with a perfect pronunciation chip installed in my head, I worked hard, practiced a lot, made a lot of mistakes, but persisted, and today I'm here giving you these valuable tips. And what is the result of all this? A much clearer, much more confident, much more natural pronunciation. You know that feeling of insecurity when speaking English, of fear of being misunderstood, of locking up in the moment. Well, all that is disappearing like smoke. When we pronounce the words correctly, we feel more secure, more comfortable, more free to express ourselves in English. It's like taking a weight off your back, Communication flows much better, people understand you more easily, and you feel much more fulfilled. So let's put the mouth to work and conquer this top-of-the-line pronunciation. You won't regret it, I guarantee you. And hey, ready to go to the next level and discover where to find practical exercises to further turbocharge your pronunciation? Come with me. Practical and free exercises. Hey there, friend, how's your excitement level? Hope it's sky high because we're about to talk about something everyone loves. Free stuff that actually works. Yep, you heard it right. I'm gonna show you how to supercharge your pronunciation with practical exercises and best of all, completely free. 'Cause here at Learn English Secrets, we believe learning top-notch English shouldn't cost a fortune, right? We're all about democratizing education, spreading knowledge to everyone, and proving that yes, you can speak fluent English without emptying your wallet. So, if you're sitting there thinking, cool, this sound comparison and word repetition stuff sounds great, but where do I find exercises to do this? Relax, your problems are over. I'm gonna give you the treasure map, the insider's guide, the cream of the crop of pronunciation exercises. And the magic words to start searching are minimal pairs. Yep, minimal pairs. Ever heard of them? If not, no worries, I'll explain it all. Minimal pairs are basically pairs of words that are almost identical, differing by only one sound, you know? It's like ship and sheep, which we already used as an example, bed and bad, rice and lice, pen and pan. Get the vibe? They're little words that always confuse us, that we hear and think, huh, is that the same word? But they actually have different sounds and different meanings. And minimal pairs exercises are specifically designed to help you hear and pronounce that subtle difference between these sounds. It's like a specific workout for those ear and mouth muscles we didn't even know existed. So, how do these exercises usually work? It's pretty simple and straight to the point, no fluff. Usually they have you listen to the two sounds in sequence, like ship, sheep, ship, sheep, to get you to start paying attention to the difference. Then they ask you to identify which word you're hearing, like an auditory test, you know? Which word did I just say, ship or sheep? And finally, they get you to repeat the words to put your mouth to work and lock in the correct pronunciation. It's a complete learning cycle: listen, identify, repeat, and it works like a charm. And where do we find these treasure troves of minimal pairs exercises? The internet is here to help us, my friend. Do a quick Google search, type in minimal pairs exercises English pronunciation free. Pay attention to the word free, okay? We want free stuff, remember? And you'll be amazed at the number of options that pop up. Websites, apps, PDF materials, YouTube videos. It's a universe of resources waiting for you. Many English teaching sites, online schools, and language platforms offer these exercises for free as a teaser to get you hooked on their method and fall in love with correct pronunciation. Another golden tip is to search for YouTube channels and podcasts from English teachers who are pronunciation pros. Many of these channels and podcasts use the minimal pairs technique in their content, explain how it works, give practical examples, and best of all, offer free supplementary materials. It's like a perfect combo, theoretical and practical lesson, all free and in the palm of your hand. Just do a little digging, search with care, and you'll find real gold mines to boost your pronunciation. And to give you a taste of what these exercises are like in real life, how about we check out a practical example now? Ready to get your hands dirty, or rather your ears and mouth to work? Come with me to the next topic. Practical example, A versus A. The moment of truth has arrived, my friend. Let's put theory into practice and see how these sound comparison exercises work in real life. To help you understand every detail, I've prepared a super cool practical example with two sounds that often tie the brains of many people who are learning English: the and A sounds. Do you know what these sounds are? Relax, don't panic if the names sound like Greek to you. I'll explain it in a super easy way, as if we were chatting at a bar. The sound is that open sound, you know. It appears in words like cat and hat. Repeat with me: cat, hat, cat, hat. Did you feel the open sound? The mouth makes a big almost a horizontal smile. The A sound is a more closed sound. It appears in words like bed and pen. Repeat with me too: bed, pen, bed, pen. Did you notice the difference? The A sound is more contained, the mouth doesn't open so much, it's more relaxed. The problem is that many people, when speaking English, end up mixing these sounds. And then, my friend, it becomes a real mess. Because in English, this difference is crucial. It makes all the difference in the world. Bat and bet are completely different words with totally different meanings. And the only difference between them is just the vowel sound. If you say bet wanting to say bat or vice versa, communication is over. It's like exchanging 6 for half a dozen, or rather exchanging bat for bet, which have nothing to do with each other. In a minimal pairs exercise with these sounds, you would hear bat first, then bet. Repeat with me there: bat, bet, bat, bet. Were you able to catch the difference? The ah sound in bat is more open, more expansive. The mouth is more rounded, as if you were going to take a bite of an apple. The a sound in bet is more closed, more discreet, as if you were thinking about something. It's a subtle difference, but it makes all the difference in pronunciation and understanding. One cool thing about these exercises is that they usually use a somewhat exaggerated pronunciation at the beginning, you know? It's as if the pronunciation teacher spoke the words very slowly, opening their mouth wide, making funny faces, just so you really catch the subtlety of the sound. It's like when we're teaching a child to speak, you know. We say everything very slowly, opening our mouth wide for the child to understand each syllable, each sound. In the minimal pairs exercises, it's the same vibe, and after you've got the hang of it, the pronunciation becomes more natural, more fluid, more like a native speaker would. And what is the ultimate goal of all this? Is that you can hear and reproduce the difference between ah and a naturally without consciously thinking about how to move your mouth, how to position your tongue, how to vibrate your vocal cords. Is that this difference between the sounds becomes automatic for you, like breathing, like walking, like speaking your mother tongue. It seems like magic, right? But it's not magic, it's training, it's practice, it's dedication. And hey, are you enjoying this practical pronunciation class? If you're finding this practical and useful, how about leaving a comment below telling me which pair of words with similar sounds you've always had difficulty pronouncing? That way, I can give you personalized tips and help you even more to unlock your English. And now, to close with a golden key, let's discover the secrets behind the effectiveness of these minimal pairs exercises. Come with me to the next topic. Secret of contrast exercises. Hey there, curious to know why these sound comparison exercises, the famous minimal pairs, work so well? Why are they like the secret formula to unlock pronunciation in English? Listen up, because now I'm going to reveal the 3 golden secrets behind the effectiveness of this technique. Get your paper and pen to write down, because this is valuable information that can change your game in learning English. And don't worry, I'll explain everything in a super simple way, without technicalities, without complications, as if we were in a casual chat between friends. The first secret, and perhaps the most important, is that these exercises make you aware of the differences between sounds. Think about it. How many times do we mispronounce a word simply because we don't even realize that there is a difference there? Like we hear ship and sheep and think, it's all the same thing, it doesn't matter, and then we pronounce everything the same wrong. But when we start doing minimal pairs exercises, the magic happens. The exercise forces you to pay attention, to focus on the sounds, to compare ship with sheep, bed with bad, rice with lice, and suddenly bam, it clicks. You realize that, oh, wait a minute, these sounds are different. There is a nuance, a subtlety, a detail that I wasn't noticing before. It's as if you opened your eyes to something that has always been there in front of you but you simply didn't see. It's an awakening of phonetic awareness, a light that turns on in your brain, showing you the path to correct pronunciation. The second secret is that the exaggerated pronunciation that the exercises use at the beginning helps you to hear. Remember that we said that many English sounds are super subtle. almost imperceptible to our ears, which are not used to these nuances. That's it. If we heard ship and sheep in a normal, fast conversation in everyday life, maybe we wouldn't even notice the difference. But in the minimal pairs exercises, the teachers, the audios, exaggerate the pronunciation, say the words very slowly, open their mouths wide, stretch the sounds precisely to facilitate our perception. It's like turning up the volume of a low sound for you to hear better. It's a push for our ear, an awakening of our senses, which helps us to capture the differences that previously went unnoticed. And the more we hear this exaggerated pronunciation, the more our ear is tuned, getting used to it, training to identify these nuances even in normal, fast speech in everyday life. And the third secret, and no less important, is that presenting similar words together reduces confusion. Think about it. What is the biggest difficulty in pronouncing and understanding English? It's not just producing isolated sounds like sh or e, but rather perceiving the difference between similar sounds in the middle of speech in the real context of communication. When we practice isolated sounds or loose words, we are only training half the way. But when we compare similar words like ship and sheep side by side in the same exercise, we are simulating the real difficulty, the confusion that happens in practice. It's as if we were training on a battlefield, preparing for the real world of pronunciation. We are learning to discriminate the sounds in the context of spoken language, to identify the differences even when the words come together, fast, mixed in sentences and conversations. And that makes all the difference in unlocking pronunciation and communicating with confidence in English. Joining these three magical elements, awareness, facilitated listening, and real context, the exercises of comparison of sounds, the minimal pairs, become a super powerful tool like a turbo in your journey towards perfect pronunciation. Conclusion. Hey, what's up? We've reached the end of another super secret video here at Learn English Secrets, and if you've made it this far, congrats! You've just taken a huge step towards English pronunciation that will leave a lot of people speechless. Today, we uncovered the power of minimal pairs. You got how comparing those almost identical sounds is the secret to supercharging your pronunciation? Forget memorizing lists of loose words. The secret is to train your ear to pick up the nuances, the minimal differences that make all the difference in real spoken English. So, did you like this super tip? Then you know what to do, right? Leave that awesome like down below to show that you're on the perfect pronunciation team, and of course, subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss any secret we reveal here every week. That way, you won't miss a thing and you'll also help me spread this good English vibe. And now, as usual, let's test your supersonic ears. Pay attention to this. Compare the sounds, feel the subtle difference, and unlock the secret of. So, were you able to catch everything? Write here in the comments what you understood and complete this secret sentence in a super creative way. I want to see everyone killing it in the comments, Use your imagination and show that you caught the Learn English Secrets spirit of the thing. Remember, with Learn English Secrets, the secret of English is within your reach. Keep practicing and keep discovering the Learn English Secrets by clicking on this video or this playlist right here. See you in the next video.